Hello everyone and welcome to Meeple Leaf Reviews. I'm Jeffrey.
I am Jacob.
And today we're doing a before and after, which it's been a while since we've done one.
It's been a while.
So let's hear what they're all about.
A before and after is where we give you our expectations of a game before we've played it. We've just read the rules, looked over the game pieces. Then we're going to play the game one single time, come back to you and tell you our first impressions.
So today that game is Lignum, the second edition from Capstone Games.
Yes.
Now this is one that I've heard about, well, quite a while ago from you.
That's right, yeah.
You described it as a woodcutting game, and I was like, oh man, I need to have this. But it was like so hard to get and so expensive. Right. So when I heard Capstone was coming out with the second edition, I was super excited.
Right.
And really anything Capstone has been coming out with, I'm interested in at least picking it up because it's on that heavier end of gaming that I really enjoy.
Yeah, and you actually picked this one up at Origins when we were there just a few weeks ago.
I certainly did.
Yes.
So I don't know how much the woodcutting theme does for you, though.
It doesn't really do much. I'm expecting this game to be heavy, as you mentioned. The theme doesn't really appeal, but it doesn't detract for me either. Right. The one thing that I am really expecting from this is because there's so many steps and so many phases that everything goes through. You get your wood and then you have to transport it and then it dries and then or it gets cut and you need all these tools over here or these guys here to do these different steps. There's going to be a lot of planning and it might be overwhelming, I think, for this first play.
Yeah, I'm definitely going in thinking that this is a heavy planning game because, like you said, once you get to that wood phase after you're done doing the supply, it's like, okay, well now you need to cut the wood, now you need to move the wood. How are you going to move the wood? Oh, you can only move part of the wood. Okay, now you need to saw the wood. Oh, you didn't have enough saws to cut it all. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a gong show, I think.
So I think I will enjoy that. Plus, you add in the extra planned work that you can do, so you can take an action to plan a bonus for turns in the future.
Right.
So then you need to even set up, so I need to make sure I have enough stuff when this comes around so that I take full advantage of it to make the most money.
Right.
So that's kind of what I'm expecting going in, is going to be heavy planning, and there's going to be a lot of, oh, if I only just had one more of these items, I could have done it perfectly.
One thing you did mention as you were teaching the game to me, and I will say on top of this, learning the game, I kind of understood it because I had seen a playthrough of it before, but it was still just, oh, all right, okay, and there's this step and this step and this step. I think this is going to be a learning game. But one thing you did mention for those planning phases where you can pre-plan turns ahead, I'm not very good at that kind of thing.
Right.
And you mentioned to me during the teaching that this is like a one-time thing. You only get this token once.
Yeah.
And if you mess up, you just mess up. Yeah, I think I'm going to mess up on all three.
Yeah, you can only do it a maximum of 3 times, and then that's it. It's over. So you can feel really bad having planned work and never taken advantage of any of the 3 by the end. But yeah, I'm going in. I think I'm going to like it. I think it's going to make my brain work in interesting ways that I enjoy. So we'll see.
Agreed.
All right, we'll get it to the table and we'll come back and see what we think of Lignum.
Let's do it.
Hello everyone and welcome back. We just finished our first play of Lignum. Now a little bit of history into our first play. We played 2 players. The teaching took 28 minutes. Whew. And the playtime was 1 hour and 24 minutes.
Right. And with that teaching, I was still, and I had watched a review on top of that beforehand. I still was just going through this game. I was going, okay, how does this work? By the end of the game, I'm going, oh, you can do that? Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on, lots of layers.
After I read through the rules, I was like, wow, this is actually a pretty simple game, but there's just a lot going on. Nothing in the game is difficult. There's a few little rules that you have to remember. Oh, well, how much can a sled carry? Make sure that my fodder moves down 1 after I move it and stuff like that. But overall, the mechanisms are pretty simple and straightforward. It's just when you combine 20 of them together,
right?
That's when it taxes your brain a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
So first impressions.
First impressions, this was a little weird for me because I felt engaged. There was a lot going on, and I was like trying to figure out all these different steps and trying to plan efficiently, and yet I felt uninvolved in the game and just kind of detached, and I didn't really care.
You don't care about woodcutting?
Well, it wasn't the theme though. I think it may have been that there was so much going on in the game that I just kind of took a step back away from the game as I was playing through. Maybe with a second play and a third play, once I understand everything and how it all works, I could get a little more enjoyment out of it. But I would say I didn't enjoy this game. Right, my first play.
You're like looking at it, and there's all these gears that you don't even know are there, and then you're like, oh, I could actually turn this one, and then I can actually turn that one. But it was just so much going on at the beginning.
I think with a better understanding, now that I have one play under my belt, I think I would probably enjoy my second play a lot more.
Right. So you had mentioned how the first game would definitely be a learning game, and the difficulty of planning. I felt like I was able to plan for everything that I wanted to do, like the whole harvest, having enough food, and the firewood in order to heat. I didn't feel any difficulty in that. I felt the difficulty in planning was in trying to maximize.
Sure.
Like I could get everything done.
Oh yeah.
But then it's like, well, I want to do this task as well. How can I make sure that I can get that task done? Or, you know what? I actually want to get 3 joiners so that I can maybe try and get the 3 wood over there to get the bonus for that. So I'm taking on more, and then I'm taxing myself even more, trying to plan to get those extra things done. And I'm like, okay, well, can I push it one step further to get even more done? So for me, it was like trying to maximize is where the difficulty in planning came in, not in just trying to satisfy the base requirements of every winter phase.
I would say even more so than that, the difficulty was that you're taking one little step at a time. So you're taking one action. Okay, this gives me a saw.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now you need the workers to use that saw. And you also need the wood.
Yeah.
And you need to transport that wood over to where the sawing is happening. Yeah. So there's 5 steps that you need to go through, and your action is, I get the saw. Okay, now what else do I still need to do? Okay, well, I need the wood. I need to make sure I have these guys to get that, so on and so forth.
The other thing that the first round I noticed, and I was like, oh man, that's devious, is the fact that the bearers come before the fodder.
Yeah.
You were like, okay, well, how much can I transport? Okay, well, if I have a cart and I have fodder, well, then I can transport 3, which means I only need the 1 bearer. But it's like, okay, well, you could take that bearer, and then I could just skip right over and get the fodder, and then, well, you've only taken 1, so now you're hooped, and you're only going to be able to move 1 over. Yeah. So I felt like there was a lot of, I had to think about what you were potentially going to do, and how it was going to affect me. I remember too, since we were playing 2-player, I was like, oh, there's 6 spaces out on the board where we're cutting wood.
Right.
We're probably not going to have much competition over the different areas. I think every single time we picked the exact same area.
Yeah, it was every single time. Yeah.
And there was even one round where there were 2 areas that were identical, and I was like, okay, well, he's probably going to pick this one. I'll just try and pick this one. And we still end up picking the same area.
There's at least 50% chance that we had picked different ones. We still picked the same one.
So even in a 2-player game, I felt like there was a lot of interaction and having to think about what your opponent was doing. Even moving along that supply path, and because we were picking the same area, I want to get there first, so I don't have to pay that extra buck to move my guy around.
Interestingly enough, I don't know that I would want to play this game 2-player again. Right. I think I would want to actually play with more people. Now, the map size that you're going around doesn't change with more people. You just have more people occupying those spaces.
Yeah.
And now you're getting even less stuff. I think I would find that a little more intriguing, a little more interesting. But I don't know. This could just, like I said, I had that weird kind of distancing away from the game, so maybe I should play it again at 2-player and see how I feel.
Well, yeah, and I think at 2-player, I felt like there was a lot of thought going into every action. Like I said, I think I had to think about what you were doing. Mm-hmm. And then I made a comment partway through the game. I was like, man, can you imagine at 3 and 4-player, like all the people who could get ahead of you or take this token? Because also in a 2-player game, there's 9 11 tokens that you could potentially get that get randomly seeded every round. In a 4-player game, it only goes up by 2. It only goes up to 13. So those extra tokens are going to be even harder to get. And it's like, oh well, I want that wagon, but all the wagons are gone now. So yeah, I think I'd be willing to play it with more. I think it'd be even more planning that would have to go into it with higher player count.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I wouldn't say I enjoyed this first play, but I still do want to play it again because I think there is something there for sure.
Cool. All right, so overall for me, you didn't enjoy it, but I liked this first play. There was a lot of cool things going on. It made me have to think. I like when games make me have to think about what you were going to do, not have to worry that you were going to destroy something I've already done.
Sure.
And I felt like this was more of thinking about you potentially taking something away before I had a chance to get it.
Right.
So I always like it when games do that.
Sure.
So that is our before and after of Lignum.
That is.
Don't forget to go down, hit the like and subscribe button. We always appreciate when you do so.
We sure do. And in the description down below, there will be a link, words and things.
Will there?
Yes. And that will direct you to our website where we have podcasts as well, where we talk about games.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Take care.